Hello viewers, I hope you are doing well. Today I am going to share my profound experience of death and rebirth with you. I started my meditation session alone in a silent room at night by 11:30 the 1st September 2021. I was confident. There was no fear. Fully conscious, aware and ready to confront my death. I settled my intention to know my ultimate self deeply and completely. I was trying to be. I was declining all those things which were not me, like sensations, sounds, breath, thoughts, etc. My consciousness started to expand in 15 to 20 minutes. And as soon as this experience hit me, according to me, my wife, electricity in my whole country went off at 11:50 p.m. I think visuals and entities started to manifest, but I do not remember those because my main intention was not visuals but to know my real self. During this experience, I was offered two options, and I had to choose one of them. Infinite visuals, worlds, universes, colors, entertainment, fairs, entities, tunnels, infinite possibilities, infinite joy. Go deeper to know my real self. I chose the second option because I knew that I had my whole life to enjoy infinite possibilities. But to do the ultimate thing in this life, to know yourself, which will lead me to know God and understand God, will answer all my existential questions. Now I was diving into the tunnel of my real self, deeply like a rocket into the dark space, and my ego was throwing different kinds of distractions toward me, so I could not reach the source because my ego knew that it would lead to ego death. Ego was trying to give me wrong answers like, you are these sensations, you are that, and I was breaking all asteroids and distractions by denying and saying that I am not that. I am not that. I am the one who is trying to find myself. Then I realized that seeking is the problem. I cannot find myself till I am seeking. Who am I seeking? I am already as it is. Then I became nothingness. I became what I am. I became love. I became creator. I became expression of love. Then I started getting answers to all of my existential questions. The answer to each existential question leads to pure bliss, happiness, and laughter. I was in an undescribable, blissful state, getting answers to all of my questions. I know that I experienced many other positive things as well, but I do not remember them now clearly and completely. I wanted to express my feelings. I wanted to write a lot of things. I wanted to share my every insight. I wanted to talk to someone. Everything was going amazingly. I understood a lot of things and got answers to a lot of questions. I understood that I just am. I am transparent love. I am peace. And everything else. Thoughts, sensations, existence, etc. is just expressions of my infinity, love, creativity. There is transparent nothingness which has no properties other than the first thing, that nothingness becomes conscious of itself and recognizes itself as pure bliss, peace, infinity, and love, and then enjoys itself through the expression of its infinite creative love. Jawad, and its world, is just one possibility from his infinite possibilities. Nothingness became consciousness, and in that consciousness, nothingness expresses its infinite love, which results in infinite creations, and then nothingness becomes a person like me, so it can praise that infinite love, talk about it, enjoy it, and spread love among others, help others, make others' life easy, to listen to others. I am here to love. I am the acceptance of someone's prayer. This is how God fulfills your prayers and wishes. God made everything around you to make your life better, because He loves you. Everything is perfect. Consciousness is evolving all the time. There is no joy in selfishness. Joy is hidden in living for others. Selfishness leads towards selfish desires, which are the cause of all kinds of suffering. Then I don't know when my consciousness expanded to the level where I was able to manifest any version of my life at will. It was like I was writing my own destiny. It was like I was not just writing my infinite destinies, but I was living those lives as well. There were infinite versions of my life. And at that stage, I was living infinite versions of my life at the same time. I experienced centuries. I experienced that I am hearing the prayers of everyone. Then I was at a level where I knew that I had infinite power and that I could create or manifest anything. In fact, at that stage, my thoughts were not just thoughts. My every thought was manifesting into reality. Whatever I was thinking was becoming a physical reality. So, when I realized that I have infinite power, I was going through experiencing infinite possibilities at light speed. So I thought, let's manifest a life where I have the best version of my life. So I stopped into nothingness and manifested the best life of my choice. There was not a process of manifestation. I just decided, and there I was in that life. And in that life, Jawad had infinite powers of God and could see with the eyes or perspective of God. And in that life, God's infinite power became a problem. The worst problem. I was totally awake to the truth that I am still alone. Nothingness, and I am just imagining everything. I got a bit panicked and said, no. I don't want to be alone. I want to be with others, like I was before. I tried many times, and I was able to manifest any kind of life. But I was not forgetting the fact that I am God, and everything else is just my imagination. That infinite superpower became my curse, and I went into panic and shock. I wanted to forget that I am God and wanted to live a human life, but that became impossible for me. Let me give you an example of how it felt like with the following example. Right now, wherever you are and whatever you are experiencing right now, it seems totally vivid and real, physical to you, and everything else like nothingness, God, infinity, etc. is just your thought, imagination, and concept. Now think about how it would feel like if it's the opposite of that. At that stage, my infinity was the most vivid and physical thing, and everything else was like my imagination. And I wanted the opposite of that. I wanted to get rid of my infinite powers, but that was not possible because, in reality, it is me and my real self. I cannot get rid of my real self. My thoughts were becoming reality. My ego's fears, insecurities, desires, cravings, and aversions started to come to the surface. Negative thoughts started to appear. That was not the right time for negative thoughts, because it was the time when each thought was manifesting into reality. I started to suffer due to my own desires. At that stage, I got the answer to the following question. Why would God forget himself while living this life? Answer, if you are Jawad, slave of your own fears, desires, attachments, and insecurities, then you cannot handle the fact that you are alone, you are the only one. There is nothing else and there is nowhere to go. You are nothing, and everything else is just your thought. If you are a poor ego who is attached to the world, then you cannot handle that fact and you can become mad. So when we come to this world, we need to free ourselves from our own attachments, fears, and desires, and adopt the power of acceptance, gratitude, and detachment. Then we can handle our own true power of infinite love. Due to my own fears, attachments, and desires, I couldn't handle my own true infinite power and started to panic. So my every thought was manifesting into reality, and I started to think negatively. In a panic, my negative thoughts started to manifest into reality, which again pushed me into more panic. Suddenly, I started to live the life of a blind man. I saw that due to any side effects of meditation, I had lost my sight. Now I cannot see anymore. My meditation session is finished, and every member of my family is around me. I am crying, sad, and facing a lot of regrets about why I took this journey. Now I am blind. I experienced the pain of blind people. Then I lived that whole life without vision and with regret and pain. It triggered again a big attack of panic, and that whole life again dissolved, and I was back into infinity, felt like I was trapped in an infinite void. Then suddenly, I started to live the life of a madman. I saw that I had gone mad due to a psychological and spiritual journey. Now I am mad plus blind. I didn't know any language, and I was in panic, crying, and regretting. Then my whole family was around me, talking about me. They called the doctor and declared me psychologically ill and took me to the hospital of mad people and gave me electric shocks. Then I spent my whole life like this. Unconsciously, I was saying, no, 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 what I have done. Shit. I was saying, I want my normal life back. Please God, please help me. And it triggered again a big attack of panic. And that whole life again dissolved, and I was back into infinity and felt like I was trapped in an infinite void. Then, suddenly I saw that I was physically dead. My whole family was around me. They were crying, sad, talking about me, and that Jawad was in these things all the time. We always told him not to get into these things, but he never heard us. They arranged my funeral, they dropped me into the grave, etc. Then again, I was back in consciousness. It was dark, I was alone, and I had nothing, not even my body. I was really sad. I was crying, and I was saying I should have not done this. What I have done, no, please. I wanted to come back to reality. After a lot of struggle to go back to normal life, after a lot of psychological suffering, I was tired. And with ultimate sadness, I decided to surrender and accept the reality that I was dead. And thought, let's go back to the death, to nothingness, to forgetfulness, to deep sleep. And then I got dead. I went into a deep sleep, and there was one more thing that was scarier than all the above things. There, I realized that I could not sleep, I could not die, I could not lose my awareness, my consciousness, because I am the eternal absolute truth. And absolute truth cannot die, it never sleeps. I realized that I have to accept the fact that now I have to remain alone as a transparent consciousness forever. That thought made me mad again, and I started to live madly again in darkness. I had the power to manifest the normal life again, and I did it many times, but even after getting the normal life back, I was not losing the vision or perspective of God. I was able to live the normal life, but with my infinite vision, I was able to see that I am still alone, and I am just imagining all of this. And that did not make me calm and happy. In the end, after trying for many centuries, I thought, let's imagine normal life again and start to live that imagination and just keep trying to forget and fade out your infinite vision and try to make your imagination as vivid as possible. So first of all, I manifested rays of light. Then I manifested a few objects illumined with that light. Then I manifested the feeling of changing my direction, my location. Then I manifested the face of my wife appeared from that light, like God have come to me, help me in face of my wife. She smiled and said, "Are you okay? Are you fine? Do you want to come outside of the room?" I said, "Yes, I am fine and would like to come outside." I was trying to act normal, and at that time, my infinite nothingness vision was more vivid than this imaginative world. There I started to find a way to get out of nothingness, to the world of imagination. The more I was focusing on the objects of the imagination world, the more the imagination world was coming into life and vivid. I came out of the room, there was nothing other than my wife, so through my imagination I manifested outside of my room. She brought me into the lounge and gave me a chair to sit on. Now my world of imagination was coming and going, and I was really afraid of losing that imagination world again. So I was trying to focus as much as possible on my imagination of this physical world to keep it more vivid and real. I asked my wife to keep talking to me so I could stay here. Then I realized that I had forgotten to manifest my body. So through the power of imagination, I manifested my body. And I was looking at my body and other things, like I had come back here after centuries. Now with the passing of time, I started to feel that this imagination world is getting more vivid, and my real self, which is infinite, is fading out. My infinite powers started to fade out with time. And then, in the last phase of this trip, I was overwhelmed with love. The answer to each of the questions of my wife's questions was love. I learned that infinite love is so powerful and deep that you cannot handle it if you have fears, attachments, desires, insecurities, and negativities in your ego's subconscious mind. That is why we first need to purify ourselves before the actual physical death. If you have purified yourself from all kinds of impurities before the physical death, then that infinite love will become your infinite heaven forever. Or if you don't purify yourself from your deepest impurities before physical death, then you will not be able to handle your own infinite power of love, and your own impurities will become your forever torment. Now I am sober, but I know I am sure that I am alone and I can never die, and right now I am living in imagination. And now my goal is to work on my impurities, get rid of them, and bring gratitude, acceptance, and detachment in my life, so my ego or I can accept my death peacefully and live in the ocean of love eternally. Okay, thanks for bearing with me until here. That's it for this video. Take care, bye-bye.